Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has apologized to the Igbo community for the role the state played during the Nigerian Civil War, saying the people of Plateau State were deceived into participating in the conflict. Speaking during an interactive session with Igbo leaders from the 17 local government areas of the state at the Government House, Mutfwang urged both sides to put the painful chapter behind them and strengthen the bond of unity. The governor commended the Igbo community for its contributions to the socio-economic development of Plateau State, describing them as an integral part of the state's progress. Joining us on this show to discuss Governor Mutfwang's apologies to the Igbos is Chief Dan Ulasi, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. He will also discuss the fate of the People's Democratic Party. Is he dead or alive? Good morning, Chief Dan Ulasi. Good to have you again on the program. It's been quite a while. Yeah.
It's my pleasure having you and your colleagues.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Well, shouldn't we just start with PDP? The question was raised in the introduction. Is the PDP still dead or alive? And I think that should be contextualized. That question raised is with regard to the 2027 general election. Now that it looks like, well, there's no clear faction, each faction saying that other faction does not exist. You have always tried to defend the party and say, well, this faction is the right one. But what are the prospects of the PDP in the 2027 general elections in the light of the recent court rulings, particularly at the level of the Supreme Court? And now Governor Mutfwang apologizing to Igbo chiefs in Plateau State and calling for stronger bonds and all that. In what sense is he putting up this apology? He said the Plateau people were deceived into playing a role. Who are those Plateau people who were deceived into playing the role? Ethnic or perhaps certain personalities who probably played a prominent role at that time. And you will know whether there are certain specific persons from Plateau who can be adjudged as guilty that Governor Mutfwang has to apologize for. Or is the Governor Mutfwang just pursuing his own political interests? Because these politicians, they just talk sometimes.
Good morning, Dr. Bati and your colleagues. This is one topic I would have loved, like the phraseology goes, let the sleeping dog lie. 56 years after the Civil War, young people, elderly people are beginning to forget the processes of what happened. And for me, who participated seriously in that conflict, I was a commander of a battalion till the end of the war in 1970. I lost a lot of friends, a lot of relations. It's very painful. I do not know the context. He had to make that kind of statement addressing the Igbo community in Jos. Essentially, I know that there are many Igbos, in their thousands, who have been in Plateau long before the Civil War and up to now. So whether he did that for political advantage, I don't know. But I would say that every leader who is elected by his people takes a vow of unsurpassed devotion to duty. Part of this vow, comes in principle that you have to bring leadership to have some strategic discipline and not making comments that could usher in new lines of debate. Because I normally say that when you combine political, ignorance with unyielding arrogance, what you have is, political blindness. And this political blindness could usher in some kind of stoking paranoia. People will have to explain it in different directions. And 56 years after, I don't think that is what we need now. But it's important that he had to say that. Because most of the people who were hurt, killed, or maimed, it did not happen in the far north. Certainly not from Sokoto to Kano and all those areas. People who were coming home, most of them were killed in what was called the Benue Plateau area. And that's why people like us joined the Biafran Army very early. Because if you go to the railway station and see people coming out of the train with one hand, one eye, open limbs, there's nothing we weren't seeing. And you were asking, is this one country? That was what prompted Ojukwu also in making certain declarations he made out of anger, even though you don't have to have leadership out of anger. So what I would say is that something must have informed the governor in uttering the apology. We accept it. Unfortunately, whether it will resurrect those who have died, it will not. But it's important that someday the truth will be told, and the truth is coming out, that the civil war was not necessary. If you look at what happened in Aburi Accord, General Gowon signed everything at Aburi Accord, and only to come back to the uselessness of what he did. Probably he didn't understand what was going on there. And look at the book he wrote. You see a lot of convenient amnesia, half-truths and, releases that were not in accord with what happened in the Civil War. Because before Ojukwu died, he would have written his book when Ojukwu was still alive. Before General Ojukwu died, he was making a lot of comments about the Civil War, and Gowon never replied him. But for Gowon to come out now and issue his kind of brand of, I call that investigative hypnosis, because he knows now that nobody is going to challenge him in what he has said. It's unfortunate that we have to resurrect dead matter that will not help Nigeria anymore building a future of love for all of us. Look at the crisis we have. There's almost a civil war in Zamfara, Sokoto, and Kebbi areas. There's war in Plateau. All over the place. There are, recently in Oyo State, a lot of kidnapping, killing of a headmaster. The country is filled up with a lot of problems. We don't need, this kind of dialectic profiling. So I would wish that this country will continue moving forward. God did not make a mistake to put all of us in this environment. Only he knows. And if God has done that, honest leadership, and which Gowon is one of them, should be able to put love amongst our people and not be divisive, trying to justify what you did. This is not the kind of trying to justify whether you were right or wrong. How do you justify those who died on both sides? Did they know what happened? So it's unfortunate, reading his book too, that he was being clever by half.
All right.
Well, I asked you another question about the PDP. Is the PDP alive or dead to the 2027 general election process?
My friend, Dr. Betty, how can you say life or dead? Each time I would have left the PDP before now, but each time I remember that I was standing behind Dr. Alex Ekwueme of blessed memory, and two other people behind him, and Atiku Abubakar was on the other side with his people, and PDP was formed. Each time I remember that, I find it difficult to want to think I should exit. Even at the last party meeting we attended, I said my views. So I don't know. What I can tell you that the party is in, what medical people will call intensive care units. Whether it will survive from it, I don't know, because our national leader is the minister of FCT. So I don't know how he's going to, relate being national leader of PDP and a minister in Tinubu's government. But also recently, he has also shown that he's a serious PDP member, because a major senatorial election was held in Rivers State, and he delivered. And he also delivered at least one major, I think a senatorial seat in Abuja or something. So it's difficult to actually, analyze effectively what is going on. It is about at least about 4 or 5 months to the election. I hope that from what I see, that there was an election in Adamawa State, and the governor delivered everybody who came out PDP. So there's still some serious hope that in the next couple of months, there might be some kind of serious sit-down thinking that will make us realign to know how to face this government. This interview is not about Tinubu's, what he is doing, but because all he promised, I haven't seen one come to fruition. This was a man who in I think when Jonathan was president, led a serious demonstration in Lagos and some parts of this country, challenging the governance. What has he done differently?
Okay.
774 local governments. Not only his fault, water is not running anywhere. I don't know whether it's running in your village. If we have to have a political revolution in this country, 21st century,
not a village.
Since 1978, how can we say that our people, somebody saying something?
Yes, I was just correcting
How
something.
can we say that in 21st century, water is not running in any local government?
Okay.
Sorry?
No, well, Dr. Ulasi was just trying to set the record straight, that he's from a city and not from a village. But let me come in here, sir, since you're talking about, I know you say that you already mentioned that this conversation is not about evaluating the president's performance, even though you've delved into it a little. But since you're talking about the PDP and hopeful that it would resurrect, you have set your alignment with the Wike-led faction of the PDP. But this faction is in support of the president that you're saying hasn't done well. So they're saying that they are putting their support behind President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's second term in office. Are you in agreement with that? If that is, because that is where you align with. Do you also align with their choice of a presidential candidate? That's one. Then number two is that you said something when you were responding to Governor Caleb Mutfwang's apologies to the Igbo. You said this is not what we need now. What do you need now? Because there seems to be that, engendering goodwill with the Southeast. The First Lady was there. She has promised to wear fabric from that region if elected for a second term. There's a courting, as it were. What is needed now, since that conversation has come up again based on the governor's apology?
Well, this is a very long lecture, but let me pick the ones I remember from what you had just said. If in the last interview I had with your station, I did say that it was wrong for the FCT minister, being the national leader of PDP, to also prematurely, 4 months ago, declare support for Tinubu. Even though he's serving under his government, he would have waited until the election is closed, and he will give reasons why he's supporting him. He has every right as a human being, as a Nigerian citizen, but not as national leader of the People's Democratic Party. That was something demoralizing for a lot of us. Well, he's my friend, and I had to say it. Even in the last meeting we had, I said it too. And we arranged to meet, but unfortunately we never met. But that is it's for his conscience to know whether as leader of the PDP, whether what he's doing is righteous, it is right for the majority of our people, to encourage our people to want to run for public office, so that we don't lose hope completely.
Okay, then I asked that, what do you
I don't know whether that answers your question.
Yes, that answers the first part. I mean, the second part around your statement in response to Governor Mutfwang's apologies to the Igbos. You said that's not what we need now. What do you need now then?
Well, what I'm saying is that, that apology, interesting and instructive as it is, will kind of make a lot of people in the South happy that somebody who is a northern governor from the north central part of this country, actively in government, had to make that kind of recognition of what they did. But how he made mention that if they had opportunity, they would have joined us to fight the war. Then it was what was during the Civil War what was called the Benue Plateau. So I don't know how he could have done that, but it was convenient for him to say so, whether it was out of political gerrymandering. He's probably running for a second term, so he needs a large population of Igbos for that kind of statement, but I don't think it's an appropriate way to discuss the Civil War, because something I wanted to, say, let the sleeping dog lie. Okay. In anything that involves lives of people on both sides of the conflict, it's not to be trivialized in any form.
I know it's a very painful one that happened, but we can never let the sleeping dogs lie of the Civil War, because we need to interrogate these matters for Nigeria to have essence. We can never let it lie. You are still carrying wounds from the war. A lot of people are still carrying wounds from the war. We can never let it lie. And I'll give you 2 instances. Do you think his apology is coming because the same fate people from that area helped the Igbo suffered, his people are suffering that fate today with the level of killings of his people? Do you think that apology came from that level of thinking and contrition? Secondly, we can't allow the sleeping dog lie, because the sentiments in town, and I'm happy you mentioned Chief Alex Ekweme, a man that I met and I adored so much, that had a path to presidency after the second term of Shehu Shagari. But that was also scuttled because some people were talking about the sentiment of his race as at that time. Do you know that that sentiment also came to be again when the formation of the PDP started in 1998? And Alex Ekweme had a right to be able to go for it and fight for the presidency of this nation. But again, his race, conversation that snowed back into the Civil War, came out again. And that's why we can't forget about this matter. So please just help us juxtapose these 2 things. Do you think Mutfwang is now making this apology from a place of contrition because the fate the Igbo suffered then, his people too are also suffering it now?
Husseini, let me tell you something. I
want to learn from you this morning.
We went to Jos at the first PDP convention that finally brought Olusegun Obasanjo as our candidate, Shehu Shagari had organized all the northern delegates and came into Jos to support Alex Ekwueme. You know, and I'm happy that he's still alive. Ibrahim Babangida had to intervene and called all the northern leaders that if Alex Ekwueme was allowed to be president, it will make nonsense the coup. They carried out that removed him and Shehu Shagari. That was why we lost the convention, the presidential primary in Jos. So we all went into, I think it was Jos Hilton Hotel or something, and most of us weeping. Is that what happened? And Shagari said he has done his best, that the military was still running their affairs, instructing people what to do in parts of the country. But most importantly, Hussein, let me tell you something. There's a situation we find ourselves, and you start to ask, why is it that God brought all of us in this country? If we cannot explain why or ask any questions why God did that, I would have thought that in the end of the Civil War, now we have 6 component parts of this country. Gowon is still alive. Can the governors or the president, if they are sincere to themselves, if we are not a shred of investigative hypnosis, this is what I think is going on, can the 6 component zones in this country sit down, analyze properly, say what their different interests are, and then bring them to a common point where every group will try to harmonize for the better interests of this country? I still remember the Oputa Commission. There was nothing that needs to be said that was not said in the Oputa Commission up to today. No government has dared to take up any side of what he said for the betterment of this country. So it is difficult for me to begin to imagine whether we are really sincere as a people that we need one Nigeria. When the war ended, General Gowon said, "No victor, no vanquished." But I don't know whether the meaning of that English, whether it still applies. Because the Southeast, principally in this country, whether anybody likes it or not, we are, neglected. We are not taken in as, people of one country because we fought a civil war. But statements like this from the Plateau governor also tells you that there are people who have varying views. We didn't start the war. I don't know how old you were by the time the crisis started in the north. That singular coup happened because the 3 regions were moving slightly apart. And the time I met with late Major General Hassan Usman Kassina, when he was Deputy Chief of Staff to General Way, he told me that they all supported the coup. That they all supported it too. The only thing that what happened was that after the coup, some elements in Kaduna, after Ahmadu Bello was killed, somebody else was killed in the west, and M.I. Okpara was not killed in the east. And I said, M.I. Okpara couldn't have been killed in the east because a head of state was visiting the east and was with M.I. Okpara, then the Archbishop Macarius of Cyprus. That was the only reason why that coup wasn't complete. And so it was difficult to convince people that it wasn't an Igbo coup. But honestly, people who were involved in that process will tell you that the military was just trying to save Nigeria from the governors, from the premiers who were moving slightly apart. And they didn't think it was going to be good for the overall interests of this country. So what I think we need now, if we are going to be sincere, not just people taking public office and sharing money, is for us to sit down, discuss the fate of this country, how we can move this country forward, and implement what we have discussed. It's one thing to discuss and arrive at some principles of discussion, and we are not able to implement it. Then it's useless wasting all the time talking about one Nigeria. Okay, one Nigeria in 774 local governments, water is not running anywhere, and we are not ashamed, all of us collectively, we are not ashamed that we haven't made any progress towards the interest of the common man. So it's no more a question of trying to validate or not to validate what happened in the past. But today, what can we do to make things better? I think we need a serious discourse.
Chief,
and if
as we
Tinubu,
begin to wrap up,
as president, is serious. Yes, please, go on. Sorry.
We're just about closing this conversation. Just one small clarification, and I ask this question without any prejudice. Now that you say Nyesom Wike,
yes,
MCT minister, is national leader of your party, we also know that you are still in the PDP, and that the national leader, as you described him, is supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Do we take it for granted?
Because there's music playing now.
Do we take it for granted that you are voting APC in the 2027 general election? That you will follow your national leader and vote for President Tinubu? By now, you should be certain where you stand. Hello, Chief Ulasi. Hello, Chief. Very simple question I asked.
All right, okay.
It looks like it's a difficult question for him.
No, we've lost connection.
Unfortunately, we lost connection with him. I'm sure hopefully when we have him again, we'll have the opportunity to ask him that question. But from all intents and purposes, okay, let me not answer on his behalf. Let me not answer on his behalf. I was going to say that based on... Yes, that based on...
Dr. Abati.
No, but he said that he supports... He has
No, just a clarification.
Yeah, you answer. Please, can we connect to him back? Let's answer.
We're trying to connect with him. Oh, fantastic.
Okay, Chief Ulasi, I just wanted a clarification.
Yes, please.
Yeah, you are still very much in support of Nyesom Wike, FCT minister. You said he's national leader of the PDP. Now, this national leader is on the side of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Can we take it for granted that in 2027 general election, without any prejudice, that you will follow your national leader and vote for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Very briefly, simple question.
The last interview you people had with me, I explained this. I made it public that I was supporting P2B in principle. I didn't hide it.
Okay, so you vote for
It is my right as a citizen of Nigeria. Okay. So to do. That time, excuse me, that time we hadn't had a presidential candidate. In the last meeting, they presented somebody as a presidential candidate, and I didn't see the quality in that person that is going to contest for the presidency of this country. If we have to challenge Tinubu, we need somebody with concrete values, with principles that people can trust, that people know. It's a serious battle coming into 2027 because the survival of this country we're going to talk about.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you
so
so much.
he can support my friend, the FCT minister. If he's supporting Tinubu, I'm supporting P2B. Okay. It is my right to say.
Absolutely. It's right of every Nigerian to support and vote for whomever they want to vote for. Thank you for your time with us today, Chief Dan Ulasi.